All right, welcome everybody. Okay, on tap today. Gonna get right into it. I'm disgusted. I'm so sick and tired. Now we've had the stories going back years in regards to politicians and members of Congress conducting insider trading, making money based upon this information that they've managed to snag. Now it's not just them. It's all of these government workers, civil servants, if you will, public servants, making a fortune. So we've got government officials and Gordon Gecko we got to go over. We also are going to have to today talk about the American Blob. Yep, the Blob. What is it? Remember Steve McQueen's Blob from the 1950s? Remember? The bloated by the blood of its victims. Yeah, we're going to talk about the American Blob, which is what? Bigger and bigger government. Not bloated by the blood of its victims, but bloated by our taxes. We're also going to hit on today, ridiculous energy policies. It's every day. Every day is something new and dumb hits me upside the head when it comes to energy here in this country. And, of course, we're going to address Liz Truss. That ended quickly. 44 days. 44 days. Prime Minister, no longer. Wonderful. All right. Let's talk about this here, shall we? All right. We got the story. Again, I gotta really have to hand it to the Wall Street Journal. Done an absolutely phenomenal job. Absolutely phenomenal job with some of their investigative work this past year. Really have. And title column is As COVID Hit, Washington officials traded stocks with exquisite timing. What do we tell you about trying to trade, try to timing the market and exercise and futility? Don't do it. Don't do it unless you are in a position of power. You are a member of the watchdog on Wall Street axis of evil, and you can get away with everything. Oh, then you might as well do it. Trade on the information that you have. I love the movie Wall Street. Okay. And if you remember in the movie Wall Street, Bud Fox breaks bad. He wants to do business so badly with Gordon Gecko, this titan of industry, that he does what he's not supposed to do. He has information on a company that his father works for, and he gives it to Gecko, and Gecko makes a killing on it. So Gecko kind of senses that, gee whiz, maybe I got this guy to break bad. Maybe I can get him to get me more information. He actually teaches Bud Fox a lesson in time and markets. He buys some of Bud Fox's recommendations, and they tank on him. So he tells him to go out and get him information. And he started by following around this British tycoon, Sir Larry Wildman, around. Found out that he was going to be buying, was it Anacott Steel? And, front-running the trade on that and made a fortune on it. But eventually buys into a janitorial business where he's going around law firms and he's taking pictures of all this information. Because once you have this information and nobody else does, you can make moves based upon it. Well, little did we all know. Well, we knew that Congress was doing this. We knew that members of Congress was doing this and their staffers for a while. But it's not just that. These are government officials. I mean, people were trading at Health and Human Services based upon what was taking place in COVID. And I'm not going to go through the entire, it's a very, very lengthy piece, but this is how corrupt we have become. This country is corrupt as hell. It's defining the I think it was Senator Patrick Moynihan, Democrat from New York. I liked him. He's talked about defining decency down. We got to a point here in this country where nobody cares anymore. It's just, we've gotten used to it. We've grown tolerant. Of all of this. I don't know. Maybe. maybe this is, to me, it's intolerable. You're holding a trust, a position of power where you are in government, and you're using that position to trade stocks, make money for yourself. You looked at some of these things, hundreds of thousands of dollars, massive trades. This is both sides of the aisle. Elaine Chao, who's Mitch McConnell's wife, was doing it too. Okay, she was transportation secretary. I know he said it. Drain the swamp. It was a big thing with Trump, and I happen to agree. I don't know how you go about doing it. Biden just pulled back on some of the regulations that Trump put in place to get rid of civil servants. Again, if I were president, I'd be the size of government would be cut in half more. I don't care. I don't care. With the type of technology we have today, the efficiency we have today, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. We don't need all of this. This is nonsense. Go get yourself a real job, for crying out loud. Anyway, I mentioned the blob. I wrote a column about this many moons ago. I got to look it up. It had to be early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. And it reminded me that when I was a kid, again, three stations on the TV. My dad was a school teacher, and as a treat, sometimes he'd bring home a reel-to-reel projector from school, and you could go out back in the day, and you could go to we had a public library where you could take out film, like actual film, reel-to-reel movies. And one of those movies I remember watching, popcorn, sitting in front of the fire with my brothers and friends, is 1956, Steve McQueen, The Blob, bloated by the blood of its victims. But anyway, we have a blob. It's Washington. Things just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They never shrink. The money keeps flowing in. Here's the tax receipts. Because again, we don't pay enough in taxes. We don't pay enough. You got to think about this. You got greater than half the population of this country doesn't pay any federal income taxes, yet we're still collecting record. U.S. tax receipts have surged this year. $4.4 trillion. 10% higher than it was in 2021. And they've got 1 month to calculate. They still got September to calculate. That is it's massive as a share of GDP. 19.6% of our GDP is taxes going to the federal government. Is that money wasted, or is that money wasted? Well, I guess it depends on your position. If you're part of the club, you're thrilled with this. You continue to have that money flow in. Continue to line your pockets and, deal with your lobbyists and have them cut checks, and the whole nefarious thing goes on. But at some point in time, people, we really do need to have a balanced budget amendment here in this country. I'm all for constitutional convention. And people worried about you opening up a can of worms there. I'm sorry, just a simple, balanced budget amendment. We wouldn't have the inflation that we have today. We wouldn't be dealing with any of these problems if we could just live within our means. If we could just live within our means and didn't waste money on all of these mega government programs, we'd be in a good place. But I'm telling you, people, we've gotten past that point of no return. I remember talking about this years ago. It hadn't gotten to the point. It was getting close to the point where, again, more than 50% of the population doesn't pay taxes. And what are they going to do? They're going to vote for the people to continue to pay more taxes so they continue to get free stuff. Remember Mitt Romney? That guy. I don't know whether or not his testicles are in a lockbox somewhere, but he certainly didn't have them when he was running for president. Gets caught on some sort of Mike, somebody caught him talking about voters out there that are not going to vote for him because they want free stuff. And oh my God, you can't say that. Why not? It's true. And what did he do? He apologized. He ran away from the statement rather than addressing it and being honest with people. Yeah, there's a large swath of the population just wants free stuff. And it doesn't, I play the clips. People played the clips on certain programs and they made fun of them. Do you remember? I remember Peggy Joseph, Sarasota, Florida, at the Obama rally. If I support him, he's going to take care of my bills and my mortgage and all that stuff. It was just absolute nonsense. And then there was another sad video of the lady with her I want my Obama phone. Remember that? Yeah, it just made me sad. Is what it made me. I don't like seeing people addicted to anything. It's bad enough you got to see people now in the streets addicted to fentanyl. We got a large swath of the population that's just addicted to handouts and giveaways. Anyway, all right, let's get into some of these ridiculous elitist energy policies. Okay. Biden's handed out $2.8 billion to battery companies. $2.8 billion to battery companies, but there's a catch. You must pledge to honor democratic goals like diversity, equity, and inclusion. What the flip does that mean? What does it mean? What are you going to do? If you have a certain amount of workers at your company, and you know what? Let's say they're all Asian. Well, you can't get your money. You better fire some of your Asians there and mix up your racial mix. You're going to go around asking people what their sexual preference is in the bedroom? And again, it's pride. Pride in what? Listen, if you take pride in who you're sleeping with or what you do in the bedroom, I don't know if, what your deal is, quite honestly. But that's it's nothing to be proud of. Accomplishment. That's not an accomplishment by any stretch of the imagination. Sorry, all you woke fools. All right, so we got that. Handing out money to battery companies, not based upon how great they are, but they got to make sure that they go along with the whole woke agenda. Then you had Biden. Again, this stuff hurts your head a little bit. Biden saying oil companies, going out there today, oil companies need to ramp up their production. And they better stop buying back stock. Hey, get off my lawn. Better stop buying back stock and stop paying dividends. Yes, don't do the right thing by your shareholders. You need to spend that money. You need to up production. Is it? I don't know. Maybe he is that stupid. I don't know. Maybe he is that stupid. I know most of these people on the left are. Well, you think it's like flipping a switch? Oh, yeah, it's just going to increase production. You do understand that it takes massive investment. So you want them to amp up their production, make massive investments, increase refining, drilling, whatever it may be, all and above, all these things. And then when prices come down, you want them to stop. You're going to regulate them out of business. Why the flip would they do that? Why you're telling them to go out and lose money. Just go out and lose money, oil companies. Just go out and lose it on purpose. Again, they're that dumb. Then you got Bill Gates coming out talking about the European energy crisis. I mentioned this yesterday on the program. Again, a great article in the Wall Street Journal talking about Italy's fashion industry and how it's getting torn up. torn up by these energy costs and just how expensive everything is. The reality is that you can't always pass these costs down. There's only so much. I mean, for example, H&M. H&M has a lot of their goods made in Italy. It's not a high, it's not an expensive retailer. How high can they raise the prices? All right, that's an expensive real. Let's say Gucci or Ferragamo. They might be able to raise a little bit, but there's a limit in how much people are going to pay. It's crazy. I'm seeing some of these businesses. Here's Alberto Pacinelli runs a textile maker, northern Italy. His gas bill jumped to 660,000 euros. That's a month. It was July. It was 90,000 the year before. 90,000. It went from 90 for 1 month. July 2021, 90,000 euros for his energy bill for his textile mill. The next year, 660,000 euros. How do you handle that? How do you handle that? You shut down. You shut down or you move. Italy is Europe's #1 textile manufacturer. They're going to have to consider moving outside of the European Union. They're considering moving to Turkey. What is that going to do to all of those workers? What is it going to do with that entire industry? Not to mention the brand, made in Italy. It's pathetic. It really is. But then you got Bill Gates coming out and saying that this European energy crisis is good. It's good because it's going to eventually accelerate all of these things. What did he say here? Talking about getting the transition done. Without the Russian natural gas being available in Europe, it's a setback. We need to find non-Russian hydrocarbon sources to substitute for those. So there's coal plants running and a variety of things because, keeping people warm, keeping those economies in decent shape is a priority. No, you're not keeping them in decent shape. They're falling apart. And here he goes on. He goes, now, on the other hand, it's good for the long run because people won't want to be dependent on Russian natural gas. So they'll move to these new approaches more rapidly. Yeah, you know who said that, Bill? Donald Trump warned about relying on Russian oil and gas, but it was bad orange man. And again, I'm sorry to all you people out there that detest Donald Trump. Okay. And quite honestly, I think he's kind of a whatever. I'm not going to get into it personally. I don't know the man, but I don't particularly like the way he speaks and he conducts himself and the way he treats people. But he was right on a lot of things. He was right on many things. And this was a big one. And now Bill Gates goes on and saying that the wealthy countries of the world, in essence, are going to have to suck it up. We cannot force emerging economies and markets to go off fossil fuels. Only the rich countries do, and we're going to have to bear the price. That's basically what he's saying. Yeah, sure. You know what? Let's talk about Liz Truss here. There's New England now, a song by the Kinks. It was great in The Sopranos. I mentioned this yesterday. I did the bit, Inigo Montoya. That word doesn't mean what you think it means. The word conservative. It's the same thing. It's applicable here in the United States. Republicans are new. We talked about New Deal Republicans. They love the welfare state. I admit, back in 2016, when Brexit was going on, I was thrilled. This was a pushback. I thought it was great news. I remember I got interviewed by Fox in the morning because the markets were selling off and, oh my God, it's going to all fall apart. I'm like, no, it's not. It's going to be fine. Everything is going to be fine. This is a good thing. You can get rid of all these ridiculous regulations and nonsense you don't want to be involved with coming from Brussels. Get your economy moving and grooving again. I saw great opportunity for trade. Yeah. Liz Truss comes in, talks about supply side, increasing supply side, but can't have that. They call themselves a conservative party. I don't know who's going to run the darn thing, but it's not conservative. This is not Margaret Thatcher, okay? This is not the part. It's not. It's not. So what does it mean? Again, you get what you vote for. The people in the UK, this is what they want. It's what they want. They like their welfare state. They love their national health services there. I don't know. But I can tell you this much. You know what this means to your portfolio. Avoid Europe, okay? Avoid Europe. I had this debate yesterday with the money manager. Oh, everything's priced into Europe. I'm like, no, it's not. No, everything is not priced into Europe. It's not going to be a good place to do business. It's not. You're going to see more and more European companies move to the United States, set up operations here in the United States. It was BMW announced yesterday, the day before. They're opening up another plant here in the United States to further their electric vehicle push. What, you going to do it? Who in their right mind would open a factory in Europe? You don't even know if you could put the lights on tomorrow. This is the 6th largest economy in the world. Is going to be planning on doing rolling blackouts this winter. Again, past 10 years, conservative party has been in power. Why didn't you deal with this? No. We got to make sure that we're listening to the Greta Thunbergs of the world and all of the net zero types. No, we're going to put up windmills and it'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. We need X-Gen doesn't work. We'll just get it from Mother Russia. That's fine. They'll send it over to us. Oh, yeah? How'd that work out? Anyway, have a great day, buddy. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll see you.